Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Southfield regular meeting of the Planning Commission for July the 27th, 2022. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Spence, can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Goodwin-Dye,
Present.
Ms. Bernuti,
Present.
Mr. Griffiths. Here. Mr. Martin,
Present.
Dr. Stevens Gunn,
Present.
Mr. Willis.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum to conduct business this evening.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone has had an opportunity to review our agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to accept our agenda for this evening?
To the
I
chair.
make that motion.
Ms.
Sorry.
Bernuti? Commissioner Bernuti? Commissioner Martin, you second?
Second, yes.
It's been moved and second that we approve our agenda for this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Spence, is there any announcements and communications for today?
Nope, I don't have any at this time.
Okay, given that, I'd like to open the public hearing for PZR 0DD 22-0002.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So both items on the agenda this evening, the Planning Commission has seen multiple times. There have been revisions, comments that have been made by the Planning Commission, made by staff, and both of the petitioners have made some amendments to their plans as needed. The first item, this is a public hearing, is PZR ODD 22-0002. This is the petitioner Friedman Real Estate for 27400 Northwestern Highway. This is a proposal to rezone the property to Overlay Development District with underlying B3 general business. Proposal is for a master development plan for mixed-use development and approval of the Phase 1 site plan for the conversion of the existing building to storage with mixed use on the first floor. Future phases would then come back to the Planning Commission for site plan approval in the future when those come available. This is the property in question, 27400 Northwestern Highway. The existing building, as you can see, is in the center of the image there. Existing zoning and future land use for the property. Existing conditions. This is the engineering plan that shows the location of the building and parking on site. And the master development plan, which calls for the existing building to be converted into interior storage, climate control, as well as a potential for 2 additional phases. Phase 2 with potential for a medical office building. Phase 3 potential for an assisted living facility. Phase 1 site plan would be, or the Phase 1 plan is, again, the existing building with the storage and the mixed-use retail. Phase 2, as I had noted, and then Phase 3. Landscape plan for the site. It does meet the requirements for landscaping for the site plan. This is the Phase 1 site plan. Again, focus on the existing building and existing parking and driveways. Phase 1 landscape plan, same. Photometric plan, so this is the lighting for the site. We asked for this because we want to make sure that we aren't spilling light onto adjacent properties. Storage facility floor plan. So this has changed a little bit from the last time that we met. The petitioners actually added a little more storage or a little more retail space, mixed use space on what would be the west side of the building. If you recall, previously the north corner of the existing building had that mixed use. Now the entire west side of that building is now shown as mixed use development. The opposite side of the building on the east side would be the area for the office, and they would be the sale of moving type materials like boxes, tape, so on and so forth. elevations of the existing building. Potential phase 2, again, as I noted, was a medical office building. This is the potential floor plan. Elevations for that particular building. And potential future phase 3 for assisted living. That's the floor plan, 4 stories, or 4 floors, should I say. And then the assisted living elevations. We show these because it's part of the master development plan, but keep in mind that you are really looking at phase 1, which is the existing building. Rendering, should it be built out as was originally proposed? And then there were 2 other options of potential outbuildings. With that, Mr. Warren Hudson is here representing the property owner and the petitioner. And I would ask Mr. Hudson to approach the Planning Commission and explain his project further.
Thank you very much.
Could
Good
you
evening.
please share your name and your address?
Yes, Warren Hudson with Friedman Real Estate, 34975 West 12 Mile Road, Farmington Hills. Thank you very much for the introduction, and I wanted to thank the commissioners and city staff for all their help through this process. As Jeff mentioned, you guys have seen this project a couple times already. I think it would be helpful to start out and run through a few of the changes that we made in response to the comments that we got last time. One of the first concerns brought up at the last meeting was making sure that there was sufficient mixed use in this building. So to that end, we worked with city staff and we've increased the number of mixed use spaces on the first floor. If you reference the floor plan, there's 2 distinct areas now, and we increased the square footage. On the west end of the building, we have a lot more visibility, and we think that this space will work really well for a commercial user in the future. On the west end of the building, you have really the ability to have 3 distinct spaces between the west side and the east side. So you've got the office, which will have a retail component, as well as some commercial lease space on the west end. So the total square footage is about 4,300, including their office. And the space on the west, just to note, that can be divided up as much as needed depending on the demand and the type of tenants that ultimately want to be there. Another concern that was mentioned at the last meeting was maintenance of the parking lot to the east of the building and to the west of the building until such time as the additional phases are developed. As Mr. Spence mentioned at the last meeting, the city is going to continue to enforce ordinances, and so there will be site upkeep there, but also as a condition of the site plan, we will have to execute a site management or site maintenance agreement, which gives the city certain rights to perform maintenance if it's not being done. And I can assure you the operator will maintain those in a first-class condition because it's imperative for their business to have this property looking good. Another question that came up last time was reference to grading. Jeff, if we can go back and look at a couple of the renderings, just to be clear, on our site plan that you just saw, we show a retaining wall, which is an existing feature. On a few of the renderings that we have, we didn't show the grade difference because it would have been more difficult to see the conceptual plans for the buildings. But just to clarify, we are aware that there's a grade difference there. The rendering doesn't show it. In the future, when those are developed on a site plan, either the grade will be maintained with a retaining wall or it will be re-leveled. And I think that's something that'll be addressed in the future. Other than that, so I think that really addresses the concerns that were specifically brought up, but I'm happy to answer any other questions or concerns that you may have this evening.
Thank you. Is there any community input regarding this project? Is there any community input regarding this project? Any community input regarding this project? Given none, I'd like to turn it over to the commissioners. Commissioner Griffiths?
I'm satisfied with the changes and all the discussion up to this point.
Okay, Commissioner Willis?
I think I am satisfied, but one of the things I've noticed is the rendering really looks good. And when you drive by, what you kind of notice is paint that's beginning to fade. I'm assuming kind of a refreshed paint job is going to be on there too.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, I'm good.
Commissioner Martin?
I have a question on, Jeff, if you can put up page 13. It shows the first floor, and initially, we talked about a drive-through going through for people to drive in, drop off their stuff. On the diagram there at the top, it doesn't show a drive-through, so I'm,
And I believe, Jeff, one of the diagrams that you had, I think, didn't get updated. On the site plan, it does show. So to answer your question, as the operator reviewed the building in more detail, they realized that the height of the first floor ceiling to the structural beams to the floor was going to be really tight for box truck access. Additionally, by moving the loading, by converting it from interior loading to loading behind the building, we solve a couple problems. Number one, we eliminate 2 pedestrian truck impact points, so you're not going to have trucks pulling out of the building right where we have our mixed-use component. Also, it moves the doors to the back of the building where no neighbors are going to see them and you can't see it from the road. So it's more aesthetically pleasing, it eliminates pedestrian contact, and it gives some separatism between the storage component and the commercial mixed-use component. So that was the rationale, but you're correct. I think this diagram doesn't show the new garage door in the back, but one of the other diagrams does.
but it is utilizing the loading docks that exist currently.
They would be new. There would be a new door in the back of the building.
Okay.
So if I may, through the chair, to Warren, so this is no longer a drive-through type facility, or am I missing something?
Correct. The revised drawing, I think it was on one of your other pages, shows a door in to the rear of the building. Yeah, Jeff, if you go back to the site plan, it was one of, you had it up here. So right there, you can see the loading center, rear of the building on what would be the north end, as opposed to the east and west.
I'm sorry, can you explain that again now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I don't have a really close-up view of this.
No, that's okay. So if you look at this diagram, on the north end of the building, on the center, you can see a loading area.
So right in here?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have that instead of the garage doors to the east and west.
So can you go through?
You can pull up to it, but not
Pull
through.
up, but you can't go through.
Into the building.
Correct.
If I may, through the chair, I'm looking over the ODD stuff because I thought that self-storage facilities that we use interior units and single-point access.
So we would meet single point access and interior access to each unit. It just has an exterior door.
Okay, so you can't, so just for clarification, we can't drive through the building as was initially provided. Now you
Correct.
provide basically a drop-off area.
Exactly.
Okay, so you pull up, does it drop off inside the building or it's outside the building?
Yeah, it's outside the building.
It's outside. Okay, so,
But there wouldn't be exterior access to each storage unit outside. It's just one door, one common point of access for all of them. So
right, so I guess my concern would be, whereas before you had multiple people who could come into the building, now you have basically one at a time, and are we not now starting to stack people up? If we have 3 or 4 people come at one time, what happens to those other people? They have to wait until the other one is complete before?
yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Kat, our architect, who can answer this better than I can, perhaps.
So Kat, can you explain how the loading area is?
Hi, my name is Kathleen Rosen. I'm here with Design House 3300 Auburn Road, Auburn Hills. So in the back of the building, if you enter on what is, I guess, my left, that driveway, you'll come around the back of the building. There'll be some parking spots right there that would service the mixed-use area on the northern western side. And then that space after those first initial parking spots is where you would drive up with your vehicle to unload There would be one single door on the back where you would enter with your stuff, and there would be an elevator there that would take you to your units, your storage units. And then there's some additional parking past that gap that would service the office area. Does that answer your question?
Well, it's a lot different than what we've been seeing for the
Correct.
last couple of months.
Correct.
Jeff, can you flip back to the floor plan? Is there any way you can zoom in?
I can't, no, I can't zoom in, no.
Do you know how wide that overhead door is that's shown? And it looks like there's dash lines, I'm assuming where the door swings.
Yeah, I believe that's just like a 16-foot overhead door. We were also contemplating doing an overhead door or some, like commercial doors that slide open.
So in theory, you can drive one vehicle inside there, or you're just not?
No,
allowed
it
to
would
drive
not be
16
intended
cars?
for vehicle access. It would be for pedestrian access.
Okay, got a question. Jeff, this is not the same plan that we've seen all along.
Well,
So-
no,
so-
I mean, all along, it has been a drive-through.
Correct.
You entered on one side and exited on the other.
Correct.
It was
And
a
if
drive-through facility. It gave multiple people the opportunity to drive into the building to do what they were looking to do. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, again, now it appears like we've lost that. You pull up into a particular parking space, you unload, and that space is big enough, I'm gonna assume, for one person to access until they leave, and then another person pulls up after.
No, that's,
There's multiple
So what-
spots to pull up.
so this actually allows for multiple cars to come in and unload at the same time. With the drive-through facility, you were gonna have one car following another one. This allows for multiple cars or trucks to be parked in the rear and all be entering the property at the same time. Again, they would enter in with your box of goods. You would then either go to your self-storage on the first floor or take an elevator up, but you could have as many as parking spaces entering the building at one time now, so it actually facilitates more people entering the building than previous. Otherwise, you were gonna have a line backing up within the building, potentially exterior of the building. Now you have everyone parking in the rear up to as many parking spaces as we have, which is ample. You're never gonna have 100 people in this building at one time.
Yeah, if I may, I understand that, but now those people now are basically exposed to the elements now to bring their stuff in, whereas before, at least they were in a covered area.
There is a canopy over the back that would cover most of the parking spots that are back there.
Correct, yeah.
The
Okay.
ones that are up against the building.
Okay.
Jeff,
For the first,
Jeff, it appears that they've made changes that were not shared with us and that you're unaware of, so I'm not sure how we should proceed.
Well, again, I'll leave it up to the planning commissioners. Again, it's a lot different than what we've seen, only because we went from, a drive-through facility now to one that has lost that, and now we have, that's why I wanted to look at the ordinance, because the ordinance states interior, which they have the interior units with a single point access, which in essence they have. It's just different than what we've seen for the last 2 months.
To the chair.
So I guess I'd leave it to the commissioners, if you're comfortable enough with it to move it forward, or if you feel like you need additional time. It's just a lot different than what we've seen.
Commissioner
To
Martin?
the chair. At this particular point, we're looking at the zoning request only, correct? And not necessarily the building?
Well, no, again, keep in mind, you're approving the Phase 1 site plan, so that is you are approving the site plan as we have it today.
Okay.
Or at least you're making a recommendation for approval. Yeah, so what you're doing is you are making a recommendation on the ODD, Overlay Development District, to allow this type of use with the mixed-use development. Part of that is the storage facility with interior units, which it has, and a single point of access, which it has. It's just a lot different than what we've seen.
Yeah.
Commissioner Martin?
With the change, you mentioned the height of the door, the doors weren't
The
higher?
doors, the door on the back where you would pull
I'm
up.
sorry, the doors on the end, weren't tall enough to get a truck in, a box truck in?
The floor-to-floor ceiling height would not be tall enough, so that would limit feasibility of actually doing that center drive aisle. And that was discovered in the recent weeks, I think last week.
And that was part of the concern, the initial concern I had when I asked about the slope of the building for the
Yes,
entrance.
so we took your concern to heart and we investigated it, and that was our conclusion, was it was too short.
To the chair, I'd like to recommend that we postpone review of this to no date certain, so we can get clarification on the height and the changes in the drive-through and the changes on the loading docks at the back. Because we're coming up with something now that we haven't gone through any details on, and it doesn't make sense to me to try and approve something that we haven't really looked at.
Okay.
Support.
Commissioner, has been motioned that we postpone this review until a date certain.
No date certain.
No date certain, and it's been seconded by Commissioner Goodwin Dye. Is there any further discussion?
If I may, Madam Chair, and again, the reason why we're doing a postponement is,
Because of the loading dock situation, we weren't aware of the change for the drive-through, and then we're not 100% sure on how the loading dock situation is in the back, because we didn't look at the loading dock situation in the back. We were under the impression it was a drive-through.
okay, I just wanted clarification so you guys know, it was a surprise. to all
Correct.
of us. And,
To the chair,
Yes.
can we also add, maybe it's not on the documents here. I can see some lines that might allude to a covered canopy, but I don't know how big or how far. I don't know if we have screening concerns on the sides now, or if we're out, when it kicks into outdoor storage from indoor storage. You know, if you leave your box sitting on the ground for 5 minutes, or is it 2 hours, or a day, or, assuming people aren't gonna really leave their stuff outside, they're gonna get it inside the building where it needs to go, but it is obscured by a 400-foot wide building or whatever it is, but I don't know what goes on behind the building. It's like really hard to tell what's happening at the rear of the plan.
Commissioner Bernuti, any comments? No. Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Martin and second by Commissioner Goodwin Dye that we postpone the review of
If I may,
Yes.
Madam Chair, not to kind of cut you off, though, you're postponing, but to a date certain, to no date certain? I mean, are we moving this to the August agenda? I think that is very important here as you make a motion.
When is our next regular meeting?
Well, the next regular meeting would be August.
My phone's off, I don't even have my calendar. Oh, boy, yeah.
Next regular meeting would be August 24th.
And our next study session?
That's a regular meeting. That's your next regular meeting.
Okay.
So we're talking about postponement for a full month.
Listen,
I guess what I'm asking is if Mr. Martin would be willing to amend his recommendation to include a date certain.
Okay.
to clarify this, Jeff, don't we have a study session before the 24th?
Yes, we would, but you have to postpone this item for public hearing. Well, you've already had a public hearing, so you don't have to have another public hearing. But you don't make decisions at your study meetings unless you want to set up a special regular meeting. But otherwise, you go to August 24th.
Okay, I'd like to propose that we don't want to delay your project. That is not the intent. But we don't have enough information. You made some changes. And the commissioners have issues with the changes because we're unaware of them. So Jeff, can we have them come back for the study session to present the changes? And then can we do a regular meeting right after the study session? Do we have enough time to do that publicly?
You would have to set a new regular meeting in order to do this sooner than the 24th of August.
What is the first meeting in August? What would be the first study meeting in August?
The first study meeting in August is,
The first study meeting in August we're doing is the 10th.
how difficult is it to do, to schedule another regular meeting?
All it takes is the chair to
Chair,
state that
Okay.
you'd like to set up
Okay.
a special
Okay,
regular
so can we
meeting
do-
in order to discuss this item.
So can we do a
Yeah.
study session for them, August 10th, and then hold another, on the same day of time, do a regular meeting?
Yeah, so what you can do is you can hold your study session on the 10th,
Mm-hmm,
and once your study session is done,
Then we can
then you'd
have
be able to
special.
do a regular meeting.
okay.
Now, I will note to you, we have 5 items on the agenda for the study session, which means we can do the study items, but then you'd have to do a separate meeting, regular meeting. It's kind of complicated. You would, I would think that you'd have to do the regular meeting after the study meeting to bring up this item again.
So is a concern, there's very limited traffic that comes in and out of the loading area. You know that.
Sir, the issue is not what you're proposing. The issue is what you presented tonight is not what we've seen. That's the issue. So we're asking you to go back and prepare a presentation of the proposed changes. That's what we want to see. So we're looking at our study session on August the 10th for a review. We're also discussing about whether or not we can have a regular meeting to get your project approved to move forward. That's what we're doing right now. So hold on, let us figure out what we're gonna
Yeah,
do, and then, you know,
Okay.
just hold on. Commissioners, on our August 10th, we have 5 items already,
I
right?
believe we'll have at least 5 items for the agenda on August 10th. yes,
Okay.
For the study meeting.
For the study meeting.
This would then make number 6 if this moves to August.
And August, the following week is the 17th, right?
The 17th, right, the 17th, we are actually bringing the master plan to you on the 17th.
Okay. So can we, and the 17th is not a regular meeting, is it?
No, it's a study meeting.
Okay. So can we do a regular meeting in conjunction with our long-range planning meeting?
You can schedule a regular meeting after the long-range study on the master plan. Yes, you can do
Okay.
that.
Commissioners?
I'd like to modify my proposal to review the changes at our study meeting on August 10th and go for final approval at a special meeting
August 17th.
August 17th, yes, so that we're trying to cut down on the delay. We don't
No, we
wanna-
appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It's been, is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we move PZR ODD 22-002 to the review at the study meeting on August the 10th, and to hold a special regular meeting on August 17th. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
I
much.
look
And
forward to
again,
seeing-
it was a surprise to us. So I wish that it would have been communicated that you had taken, that interior had been taken out.
Yeah, we
I
thought,
didn't notice it, in all honesty, so I appreciate that Mr. Martin did,
Right.
but that is the issue.
yeah, we thought it was an enhancement, like when we expanded the front with more commercial, we thought doing that in the back was an enhancement, and getting rid of the traffic was better for it, the whole project. But that's okay, we'll see you on the 10th. We
All
appreciate
right,
it.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like for us to move forward with the site plans, PSP 22-0006. Mr. Spence?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So PSP 22-0006. Again, this item has been before you a number of times as well. Petitioner is Kiwi Hospitality Detroit, property location 26620 Franklin Road on the east side of Franklin between Swanson and 11 Mile. The proposed property is 1.41 acres. Zoning OS office service was proposed per PZR 22-0001. The council on Monday night did approve the rezoning request. So the property is now zoned OS office service. The site plan portion, which is what's before you this evening, is the conversion of the existing 5-story hotel to an assisted living and memory care facility. The circle in yellow is the area in question this evening. This is the existing 5-story hotel. Originally was going to be a La Quinta hotel, but due to market conditions, things have changed over the last few years, and the petitioner has brought this site plan forward for assisted living. The existing conditions of the existing building. I note proposed zoning is actually now existing zoning of OS office service for this 1.41 acres. And this is the proposed site plan. It includes an addition on the west side of the building for a kitchen and seating dining area, as well as upgrades to landscaping, a proposed drop-off area on the south side of the building with canopy, and outside courtyards that will be completely secured. New landscaping around the building, as well as on the balance of the site, including new landscaping along Franklin Road. Elevations of the building on 3 sides. First floor plan. So this shows you that new addition with the kitchen and the new dining area, seating area, as well as first floor units. Second and third floor and how their units are spaced out. They also include some gathering spaces on each one of the floors. It's the 4th and 5th floor. These are those gathering spaces that I mentioned, actually, that were presented to you a couple of weeks ago as well by the petitioner. And the roof plan that shows the new AC units and other items on the roof. With that, Mr. Dowling is here this evening along with the operator of the proposed facility. And Mr. Dowling, I ask if you could explain your project further and then take any questions from the commission.
Honorable Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, thank you for hearing our proposed 85-bed senior assisted memory care facility.
Can you give your name and your address, please?
Yes, my name is David Dowling, owner of Yukon Building and Land Development. We are seeking approval for an
Your
85.
address?
I'm sorry?
Your address?
Oh, I'm sorry. 4051 Haggerty Road, West Bloomfield, Michigan, 48323. The building's located at 26620 Franklin Road. It's off of Franklin Road, if you can see up in the top. Our entrance is off of Franklin. It's an existing 5-story building. It's part of the Best Western Premier, a 206-room, 16-tower located at 26555 Telegraph Road. It was occupied in 2017. Also put online in 2020 was a 54-unit executive stay. The building is 100% owned by the individuals that own the Best Western Premier. Each room is private, full handicap bath. All rooms are independent, heat, cooled, controlled with Wi-Fi, alarm systems, monitoring systems. The 5-story building will have a 5,000 square foot, 75-seat dining, fully equipped kitchen to provide breakfast, lunch, dinner for the resident and also staff members. Kitchen and dining are directly attached to the building. The exterior garden area will be open to visiting guests and residents. This is a secured facility. It'll be fenced and restricted for entering people coming into it or people leaving. Any questions you may have at this time? We've pretty much covered the building on a few sessions. I'd be glad to answer your questions.
Is there any community input?
If I may, Madam Chair, there's no public hearing required.
I'm sorry?
There's no public hearing required on site plan.
Okay. So commissioners, Commissioner Griffiths.
You sent us a market study.
Yes.
I flipped through. It appeared to be that there's a need for this. Could you just maybe give us a summary of the market study and the need and that there is a need? It appeared that it was. Maybe I was missing something.
Yeah. You want to help with that as far as what's needed?
I can't speak to the,
The study itself.
I can't speak to the study itself, but, you know, it's a, you know, now over the next 15 years, it's a growing population of people in the age range that qualify for this type of care and services. And so I think we're at the beginning of that expansion of the market. And this particular area is dense enough and has a large enough portion of that population to warrant this kind of facility.
Thank you.
Commissioner Willis?
Thank you. I think I asked the last time if the rooms were comparable in size, larger than or smaller than rooms of similar facilities. I think I found out that the rooms are a little bit larger. I give you
Rooms are
kudos for that.
312 square feet.
They-
Yeah, they're ample size.
They are. So, you know, again, I appreciate the size and that consideration, so thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
You didn't change your loading dock, did you?
I've changed nothing.
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Goodwin-Dye?
No questions.
Commissioner Benuti?
My question, you indicated that you had inside area for guests and family and entertaining. Do you have anything planned for the outside of your building for those that will be living there for the fresh air and all?
Want me to address that?
Jeff, if we go to the landscape side, the green shows the exterior of the building. Jeff, thanks for helping. Right here, when you see the landscaping on the exterior on the south side, that's a fenced-in area, approximately 1,500 to 2,000 square foot. That's the area where the residents and also their guests can meet and wander. Inside the building, there's 3 units, which would be 1,400 square feet. That would be on another one of the drawings, but that would open up, and every floor, there's that same open space on each floor going up. So it's approximately 1,200 square feet. And also the hallways, are certain amenities that are built into each floor. Little library, sitting areas, lounging areas.
Speaking of those areas, will you have anything for the inpatients as far as a library or something for them to do if they're able to leave their rooms, you know?
Yes, I can answer that on the building side. Each floor has bookshelves and library facilities on each floor.
Computers or?
Marty can answer to whatever activities are performed by the residents.
Well, the activities aren't performed by the residents, but the property will provide activities on a daily basis. Most of those activities are in the main dining room in between meal times. For instance, in our current facility, meals are at 9, 12:30, and 5, and activities are at 10:30 and 2:30. So there's a flow to the day for people that want as much activity as they'd like for that population.
Okay. My concern is there are people that really want their own reading area, you know, not inside their rooms, similar to a library or computer
The-
activities.
The
Something that would-
common areas are open all day long.
Okay.
The
What's
common
your-
areas are open all day long and available during non-eating areas to all of the residents.
Okay.
So they do not, and the outside area also is available to, you know, all the
That's
time.
good. All right, thank you.
Looking at the drawing above, you can see the opened area. Each floor, floor has that opening, and of course, the lobby's a little bit grander than that. And it also shows eating facilities, seating facilities that are available on floors 2 and 4. Floors 3 and 5 are open. There's library shelves on the walls. That gives you a general idea of what's going on. Those dotted lines are all the walls that are gone. And then there's just those beams that are supporting that area. It's all open.
Thank you. I noted on your study that you alluded to, Griffith, the average age of the people that would be there would be in their late 70s, would it be? And that's why I was concerned about that. You know, as we get older, you know, we need those amenities more than, you know, at an earlier age. So thank you.
Are there any other comments by commissioners? Given none, Mr. Spence, is there a recommendation?
Madam Chair, yes, there is. With regard to, let me get my glasses on here. With regard to PSP 22-0006, the Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of the site plan review request of Kiwi Hospitality Detroit LLC to convert the existing 5-story hotel to an assisted living memory care facility, property located at 26620 Franklin Road, on the east side of Franklin Road between Swanson and 11 Mile Road, Section 20, City of Southfield, for the following reasons and conditions. Subject to conditions of PZR 22-0001 to rezone property to OS office service. Waiver of 25 foot 2 inches of building height from the Zoning Board of Appeals, 25 feet max allowed in OS office service, 50 feet 2 inches existing. Site shall be developed in accordance with Sheet 2, dated 4/4/22 by Green Tech Engineering Incorporated. Elevations of the building shall be constructed in accordance with Sheets A2.1, 2.0 and A2.1 dated 6/14/22 by Meyer Architects. Landscaping and irrigation shall be installed in accordance with Sheets L1, L2, and L3 dated June 22nd, 2022 by Allen Design. 30-inch shrub head shall be installed along Franklin Road, adjacent to the parking spaces south of the driveway off Franklin per city standard. Approval of the site plan or building elevations represented herein does not constitute nor guarantee approval for signage. Separate approval and sign permits must be obtained from the building department for any proposed sign. Petitioners provide a sprinkler system for all landscape areas to encourage preservation of plant material. Petitioners execute a perpetual maintenance agreement for the landscape and parking areas both on site and on the right-of-way, which includes maintenance of any stormwater detention system. Petitioners implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security. Approval of the site plan and/or building elevations represented herein does not constitute nor guarantee approval for signage. Separate approval and sign permits must be obtained from the building department for any proposed sign. Exterior lighting will be shielded to prevent spillage of glare onto adjacent properties. Bike rack shall be installed in accordance with Article 4, Section 5.29, paragraph 12. And the site shall be designed and developed to contain public works of art in accordance with Section 5.22-5, Public Art, Article 4, General Requirements of the Zoning Ordinance, unless exempted based upon written stipulation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept this proposal?
I make this motion.
Second?
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bernuti and second by Commissioner Willis that we accept the recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we accept the recommendation of PSP 22-0006. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope that everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from June 8th and June 22nd, our June 8th study meeting, and our June 22nd regular meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Commissioner, through the chair, I have no minutes. Usually have minutes presented. I have none.
Jeff, we got any minutes?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any minutes?
They came through email.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In my rush, I forgot to bring them here. Apologize for that, sir. I mean, you
Okay.
can still approve them. I will get them to you for signature.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the minutes?
To the chair,
Yes.
motion to approve the June 8th study meeting minutes and the June 22nd, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Martin and second by Commissioner Griffiths that we accept the minutes from June 8th, 2022, the study meeting, and June 22nd, 2022, the regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Public comment. Is there any public here to share comments? Any public? Any public? Given none, Mr. Spence, is there any miscellaneous?
There wasn't, until we got to our first item. That caught me completely by surprise, and they had actually had made no mention of this at all when they submitted new plans to us, that they had removed that. And I apologize for missing it when they sent me the new plans. And Mr. Martin, I'm glad that you had seen that, because I completely missed it. But yeah, there was a little bit of a surprise there with regard to that. And again, not mentioning it to me in any of the comments that were made, a little bit, I was surprised by it. So anyway, I apologize that I missed it. But yeah, we'll touch base with them tomorrow. I'll make sure that we get plans that are blown up that actually show all these various areas, including the back, showing whatever canopy they're proposing. So we'll have plenty of information for you for your August 10th meeting on the changes that were made to that plan, so that we can all make an informed decision moving forward on it. Other than that, as I had noted, we do have a number of items for our agenda in August. They're not quite, everything is not quite ready, because one of them I still need some information on, and thus we won't have a meeting next Wednesday. So your first study meeting will be on August 10th.
Okay. Commissioner Martin?
Jeff, you were talking to him about the Platte Moran building. I can't think of the number. But anyway, they mentioned that the height for the drive-through door was only 13 feet something. One of the things they might want to consider is allowing drive-through for smaller vehicles and the storage dock for larger vehicles, so that, you know, and they talked about the drive-through only having one vehicle at a time. If you bring a vehicle in, you can load and unload. You can stack them to do the loading and unloading. So that's something that they might want to consider too. I'm just thinking of various ways that they could do the loading and unloading and still keep the movements going. And also, if I remember correctly, that loading dock is kind of back in, so it's under a cover. So, but I'd have to go by and look at it again. But it's just some of the things that they might want to consider when they're redoing it.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? Given none, I adjourn the meeting at 7:18.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.